welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. In today's video, I'm going to show you a whole week's worth of meal prep decided by you guys over on Instagram. So if you don't follow me already, go and check it out. It's just at SASKA, and on there I did a couple of polls asking you guys what you thought I should cook for meal prep this week, and you were very helpful and gave me some good answers. It was actually 50-50 on one of the polls, so I ended up making both of those meals because I thought, why not? So the first category of food that I wanted to make was a soup. So I had the choice between a cauliflower and lentil soup, and you guys chose the cauliflower soup, which actually turned out really, really well. I was pleasantly surprised of that recipe because I'd never actually made it before. The next one was either a soba noodle salad or a couscous salad, and you guys chose the couscous salad, so I'll be showing you that today. As well as for the main meal, it was a choice between a katsu curry or a tofu teriyaki bowl, and the answer on that one was actually 50-50, so I decided to make both because the ingredients are pretty similar. I just needed to buy a couple of things to make both. And then finally, for my little snack for the week, you guys chose protein cookies, and I decided to do a little spin on it this time and make Biscoff protein cookies, and oh my gosh, they were so good. They were all eaten up within 24 hours, so it didn't really last that long. But yeah, I hope you really enjoy all of these recipes. And as always, if you have any suggestions of videos you'd like to see, please let me know in the comment section down below. And with all that said, let's jump straight into the recipes. I'll see you guys on the other side. Bye. First up, we have this delicious curried cauliflower soup. So since it's winter now in Australia, I've really gotten into soups, and this one is delicious. So I have 1 head of cauliflower, a brown onion, an apple, some ginger, and some garlic. So I just chopped those all up, and then we're going to use the Instant Pot today to cook this soup. I've just added in some olive oil, and then I'm putting in the onions and garlic and letting that saute down for a few minutes. Then it is time to add in the rest of the chopped up stuff. So I have the apple and ginger here. I just want to stir that through again. The apple makes this dish, like, it just adds a little bit of sweetness, which is so good. So I highly recommend adding in that apple. I know it sounds a bit funny, but it's really, really good. Now it's time to add in that cauliflower, chuck it all in there. I also put in a little bit of hot water just because the onions were starting to stick a little bit. And then we are going in with some curry powder. So this is what gives it that beautiful curried taste. So I've just put 2 teaspoons of curry powder there, as well as some turmeric just to give it a bit of extra color. Now I'm adding in some salt. You could also add in some pepper if you want, but you could also wait and add that at the end. It's up to you. And once that is kind of all combined and sauteed down a little bit, it's time to add in some stock. So I've got 2 cups here of a vegetable chicken style stock, and you just want to make sure all of the vegetables are coated in that stock, and then you want to let that cauliflower cook for about 10 to 15 minutes until it is nice and tender. Then transfer that into a blender and blend it up until it is smooth. So at this point, the soup actually tastes incredible, and you don't really even need to add in the coconut cream. But if you do want to make it even creamier, adding in about half a can of coconut cream will just add that delicious coconutty creamy element. Then I've just topped mine off with some pumpkin seeds and some fresh coriander, but that's completely optional. You could also top it off with some flakes of coconut or croutons or whatever you have on hand. This was so tasty. I actually ate it for lunch this day, and then I had 2 extra servings that I could enjoy for the following couple of days. And yes, I just highly recommend this soup. I'm definitely going to be making this one again. It was really easy to make, and there's just not that much more I can say about this. It's incredible. And on to recipe number 2. So here is a delicious couscous salad, and you can really put in whatever vegetables you want into this. I decided to go with some butternut pumpkin and some kale, and I just roasted that in the oven while I prepped everything else. So here I have my pearl couscous. I like to cook my couscous with stock because I think it just makes it taste even better. And I've just put in about half a cup of pearl couscous there because that's all I had left at home. But you know, if you want to make the salad go a bit further, definitely cook a bit more. And now onto the kind of meat aspect. So I'm using this plant-based beef alternative. So I'm just sauteing that in a pan with some olive oil and a brown onion. You definitely don't need to add this in if you're not a big fan of fake meat. You could use something like mushroom, or you could even, put in some chickpeas instead, or some other type of beans. But I just kind of wanted to try this different type of plant-based meat. I hadn't tried it before, and I just love trying new things. So that's what I went for this time. And now I'm just adding in some tomato paste. So this is just a little sachet of tomato paste just to add a bit of flavor. Here I'm just adding in a little bit of water. I find with a lot of fake meats, they can get a bit dry if you don't add some water. So I like to add in a bit of water as well as a whole lot of spices. So here I have some paprika as well as some salts, and I'm pretty sure I added in some garlic powder as well. So now it's time to add in the couscous into the meat-like mixture. This is optional. You could leave them separate if you want, but I do find that mixing in the couscous with the fake meat, it just adds in that flavor, and it kind of makes it all mix well together, and I just really like it. Now to assemble it, I've also added in some grated carrot and some chopped almonds. I just feel like it adds a bit of, extra fresh element and extra crunchy element, and then I've just served it with some fresh coriander on top. Alrighty, on to recipe number 3, the Katsu curry. This is honestly so good. My boyfriend actually tried it and he said it's his favorite meal that I make. So if you're gonna try one thing from this video, try this. And I used sushi rice today because I find that it just works so much better with Japanese style cooking. It just tastes so nice and like soft and sticky, and it's just so great. Anyway, let's get on to preparing the katsu element. So obviously I'm using tofu. This is traditionally done with pork or chicken, but I'm obviously not using that. I'm using tofu, and I just slice it into some kind of thick slices, and then I'm going to pan fry it first. So I actually got this tip from my friend Amy. Her channel is Kuro Kitchen. I'll leave a link to her channel in the description box below. That's where I got the inspiration for this meal. And what she does is she pan fries her tofu first in a little bit of oil, soy sauce and garlic powder, and it definitely makes a difference because it just gives that tofu some extra flavor before putting on the katsu crumb. So I'm sizzling that up, making sure both sides are really well cooked before taking it off and coating it in our katsu crumb. So first up, you have to coat it with some flour, then dip it in a plant-based milk. I'm just using almond milk here, and then finally into some crumb. So I'm using a store-bought katsu crumb mix, which has some panko flakes as well as some spices. So that's what I use today. I'll leave a link if I can find it to that brand below, but you could definitely just use, whatever katsu crumb recipe that you can find online. It's pretty simple. And then I've just put that into the oven to cook while I make the curry aspect. So all I've got here is 1 diced onion, 2 carrots, as well as some boiling water. And then we're adding in this Japanese curry mix, which honestly tastes so good. It's just from the supermarket, just from Woolies, and you buy it in this little slab of 5, but I was only making 3 serves today, so I'm just using 3 of the little blocks, and you just mix that into your water, and what it does is it thickens up the water and it gives it this beautiful Japanese curry flavor, which is so good. As you'll see, the more that the stock cubes melt down, the thicker the curry gets. So it works really well because you don't have to worry about, adding in all these different spices, adding in a thickener. It just does it all for you. I do know that it is a bit more processed, but honestly, it tastes so good and it's so quick and easy. So would recommend if you haven't tried this. Then as an extra flavor enhancer, I'm adding in 1 tablespoon of soy sauce and 1 tablespoon of tomato sauce. I got this tip from Amy from Kuro Kitchen as well. So yeah, definitely check out her channel if you haven't already. She does have a really great recipe for a homemade katsu curry, so check that out as well, because yeah, that's where I've got all this inspiration from for this meal, and it's honestly so good. As I said at the beginning, my boyfriend, who is an avid meat eater, loved this meal and thought it tasted amazing, so highly recommend if you have family members who aren't vegan or aren't vegetarian and they want to try some of your cooking, this would be a great meal to cook for them. So as you can see here, that curry has become really nice and thick, and I'm just testing it now and it tastes perfect, so it's ready to serve. So I'm just serving it up with a serve of that Japanese rice, as well as the curry and then the katsu on top. So I just chopped it up into slices, and there it is. Beautiful, so tasty. Yeah, this meal was so wholesome, and I was just so keen to eat the leftovers. I only had one leftover because my boyfriend did eat it with me. So next time I'm definitely going to make more serves because this was just so good. All right, on to the next recipe, the tofu teriyaki. So today I'm making a homemade teriyaki sauce, which is surprisingly easy to make. Like, if you haven't made your own teriyaki sauce, you should definitely give it a go because it's honestly so simple. There's only a couple of ingredients you might need to buy. But anyway, onto the tofu. So today I decided to cut my tofu up into little triangles just for something different. You know, I usually just do little rectangles, but we're doing triangles today. And I'm just putting a little bit of garlic powder and some salt on them and then putting them in the oven. I find that baked tofu, it just has such a great texture. So if you haven't baked your tofu yet, definitely give that a go. And now onto the broccoli. I'm just steaming it up in a little saucepan, super quick and easy. And now we are going to make the teriyaki sauce. So here I have a 1/4 cup of soy sauce. Put that in there. And then to that, we're adding in 1 tablespoon of cooking sake. You could omit this if you can't be bothered buying it. The next ingredient, the mirin, is really, really necessary. So 2 tablespoons of mirin. It gives it this really nice kind of sweet taste, as well as the maple syrup. So I'm using maple syrup instead of sugar. The traditional recipe has sugar, but you know, I don't really ever buy sugar, so I use maple syrup instead, and it really did turn out well. Finally, I just have a little splash of sesame oil because I love the taste of sesame oil. And then I'm also adding in a little bit of cornstarch mixed with some water. So what that does is it helps thicken up the sauce. So I just want to stir that around until it comes to a boil, and then reduce it and leave it to simmer for a few minutes until it has thickened up. This whole process should only take, I would say, about 5 minutes. It's quite quick. And then you have a beautiful, nice, thick teriyaki sauce. It's not super thick, but the more you leave it, the thicker it gets. And then I'm just preparing my little meal preps. I've added in some of that sushi rice, some frozen edamame beans, the broccoli and the tofu, and then I'm putting the sauce all on top of that. And honestly, this came together so fast, definitely under 20-minute meal, which is great for meal prep, or even, you know, just to make every night or every day, whenever you're feeling like a nice healthy teriyaki meal. It's great. All right, onto the final recipe of this video, the Biscoff protein cookies. These are seriously next level good. I made a batch of 8 and they were literally gone within 24 hours. And they're also so simple to make. So let's get started. I've got 4 tablespoons of Biscoff. I just melted them in the microwave for about 30 seconds. And to that, I'm adding in 1/3 cup of maple syrup. You wanna stir that all up. And oh my gosh, how cool does this look? I love mixing stuff. Anyway, once that's all mixed well and through, you wanna add in your protein powder. So I'm adding in 2 scoops of a vanilla protein powder. This is the brand INC. It's my favorite protein powder to use with baking because I find it just goes really well when baking. I don't know why, but the formula, it's just really great. And then I'm adding in a flax egg. So this is optional. You could just add in a little bit more maple syrup or a little bit more Biscoff to get to the right texture. But I did decide to add in a flax egg today just so it kind of binds a bit better. But yeah, as I said, you don't need it. It's just about really getting that right texture. So as you'll see here, I then added in a little bit more protein powder, and I kind of just knead it until I get that perfect cookie consistency. So as you'll see in a second, you want it to kind of be able to come together kind of like a dough, but it's not super sticky, it's not super dry. It's just that really, really good cookie texture. And then we're obviously making them into little cookie sized shapes. With this recipe, the cookies don't spread in the oven, so you need to shape them into the shape that you'd like. So you'll see now when I take them out of the oven, they have kind of changed slightly and there's, you know, little cracks in them and stuff, but the actual shape that I formed them to is pretty similar to what they were before I put them in the oven. And so here we have our beautiful cookies. You want to let them to rest for a little bit. You can eat them straight out of the oven, but they will be a bit more cakey, whereas if you leave them for a while, they get nice and crunchy like a cookie. So this is the final product. They honestly taste so incredible. I really feel like eating one right now. I wish I had made more, but I'll have to make them again soon because yeah, they're just so perfect and so tasty. Alright guys, I really hope you enjoyed this video. I just wanted to say a quick little note. In terms of my meal prep, I had a question on Instagram saying that do I cook everything in one go and then freeze it? And the answer is no, because I don't really like frozen meals as much. There are some things like, you know, a Thai red curry that goes really well frozen, but most of the meals I typically have, like, you know, salads, soups, stir fries and stuff like that, I just don't think they taste as good when they're frozen and then re-thawed. So what I like to do is make 1 or 2 meals and then wait 2 to 3 days, then make another 1 or 2 meals. So this week, what happened was I did the big grocery haul on Sunday, then I made 2 of the meals on Monday, and they lasted until about Wednesday night, at which time I cooked the other 2 meals and had them as leftovers for Thursday and Friday. And then on Saturday, I did another big shop. So that's kind of how my weeks usually work out. It's about 6 days worth of food, 6 to 7 days that I meal prep. And I usually go out for a meal once a week or once a fortnight. So, you know, maybe on the Saturday for lunch or on the Saturday for dinner, I might eat out. So then my meal prep kind of runs out by then. And then I do some more meal prep the following day. So that's kind of how it usually flows for me. I feel like it's a really good routine because the food never gets old. You know, when I first started meal prepping, I would cook like, you know, 10 serves of something and then find that it didn't taste as fresh, but 2, I actually kind of got bored of it after a while. So now I typically make about 3 serves per meal, and I don't get bored of it because I only have it about 3 times, and then I get to make something new, and I actually really do enjoy cooking. So yeah, I have at least 2 to 3 days a week where I don't cook at all, which is nice, but the other days I'll be cooking and I really enjoy that. And yeah, it just works really well for my lifestyle. I also wanted to note that I never meal prep my breakfasts. I did in the past when I was working early and I had a break during my shift. But now I just tend to eat when I come home from work if I'm working early mornings. So yeah, I don't really meal prep my breakfast these days. If you've seen any of my what I eat in a day videos, my breakfasts are usually oats, which I know how to make really well, and I make it all the time, so it's pretty quick and easy for me anyway. But yeah, I just meal prep my lunches and dinners and usually a snack as well. So I really hope you enjoyed this video. Please let me know if you want to see more videos like this or if you have any other suggestions. And if you haven't already, I would love it if you could hit that subscribe button down below. It means so much to me. I'm really appreciative of everyone who has subscribed so far. And yeah, I really want to create videos that you guys really enjoy. So please do let me know if you have any suggestions. I would love to make videos that you guys enjoy. So I'll see you in the next one. I hope you have a great day, and yeah, bye.